Hello everyone and welcome to the video note for exercise 4.22. In this video, we're going to display the loan schedule for a loan. So what we actually have to do is calculate the loan repayments. So to do this, we obtain the loan amount and the duration from the user, perform some calculations, and then display the results to the user. So let's get started. In Eclipse, I've created a new project called exercise 4.22, and we're going to add a new class. Again, I'm going to call this exercise 4.22. _22, I should say. Now, right now, I'm going to maximize this to give us some space. And we're going to have a main method. So public static void main. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is declare two variables. So an int, which is the number of years, and a double, which is the loan amount. So the next thing we're going to do is create a scanner object to read input from the user. So java.util.scanner equals, we'll call this input equals new java.util.scanner. And we're reading from system.in. Now, the next thing we're going to do is obtain the input from the user. So we're going to print out what we want from the user. System.out.print. Enter loan amount. For example, $120,000.95. So now we can store this inside our loan amount variable. So loan amount equals input dot next double. Now we can get the number of years. So system dot out dot print enter number of years as an integer. And we'll have a new line here just to break things up. For example, 5. So a 5-year loan perhaps. Num of years equals input dot next int. Excuse me. So lastly, we can enter the interest rate. So system.out.print enter yearly interest rate. For example, 8.25. Now, we need a variable to store the interest rate, I realized. I guess what we could do is declare the variable down here, or we could put it up here. It is really up to us. I might put it up here just to be consistent. So double annual interest rate. So back down here, annual interest rate equals input dot next double. So now we've got all the input that we need from the user, and we can start doing our calculations. So the first thing we need to do is work out the monthly interest rate. So double monthly interest rate, and what it's going to be is the annual interest rate divided by 1200. Next, we need to calculate the monthly repayment. So double monthly repayment. Now, what this is going to be is the loan amount multiplied by the monthly interest rate divided by. Now, I'm going to jump down to a new line here to give us some space. Now, inside parentheses, it's going to be 1 minus, now parentheses again, math.pow. Now what we're doing here is 1 divided by 1 plus monthly interest rate. And the second parameter is going to be the number of years times by 12. And then we end all that, so closing parentheses, and that's it. So just to recap here, what math.pow is doing is going some number raised to the power of some other number. The reason this is so complex is because we're doing compounding interest. So It's not as simple as just dividing it by 12 times the number of years. Anyway, now that we've done that, we can print out what the actual loan requires us to pay back. So we're going to have a couple more variables here. The first one is going to be called balance. And to start with, this is going to equal the loan amount. Double interest, double principal. So the first thing we're going to do is print out just some general information about the loan itself. So system.out.println loan amount. So we're printing out the loan amount. Printing out the duration of it. Printing out the annual interest rate. And then we'll print out a blank line. Okay, so next up we're going to print out the monthly repayment. System.out.println. Now what we're going to do here is a bit tricky. Int I called it repayment. So what this actually does is essentially it multiplies our monthly repayment by 100, typecasts it to an int, and then divides it by 100, which has the effect of only limiting us to printing out two numbers after the decimal place, so dollars and cents. So now we're going to print out whatever the total payment is. And we're going to do a similar trick. So int monthly repayment times by 12 times by number of years times 100 divided by 100.0. And then we'll actually put a new line here to spread things out. So now we've done that, we've printed out some information about the loan. Let's actually print out all of the repayments that someone needs to make. So we'll print this out as a table. So payment number, then we'll use a tab, interest, tab, principal, tab, and balance. Alright, so what we're going to do is calculate these. So interest equals int monthly interest rate multiplied by balance multiplied by 100, and then we'll divide all this by 100.0. So next one is principal int monthly repayment minus the interest times by 100 divided by 100.0. Balance equals int balance minus principal. Oops, I accidentally left out a parenthesis here. There we go, that's better. Balance minus principal multiplied by, oops, in here, multiplied by 100, divide by 100.0. Now we'll print this out. Actually, you know what I forgot to do? after this header, what we actually need is a for loop to print out all of the repayments. I can't believe I kind of forgot about that. So, for int I equals 1, I less than or equal to number of years multiplied by 12, I plus plus. This will make a lot more sense. So what we're doing is actually printing out each payment in here. So we calculate the interest that was actually paid for this payment, the principal that was actually paid in this payment, and the remaining balance. So now we can print this out. System.out.println I plus tab, oops, this is supposed to be double quotes. So 2 tabs plus interest plus tab plus principal plus tab I interest principal balance. Okay, so with that we've printed num of years, not number. Oops. There we go. So with that, we're printing out every single repayment that a person's going to need to make on this loan, which in some ways, I guess, is quite depressing, but it's important to know. So with that, let's run this now and see what happens. Run as Java application. Enter a loan amount. For example, 120,000.95. Let's actually enter this and see what happens. 120,000.95. Enter number of years as an integer, for example, 5. Well, let's enter 5. Yearly interest rate, for example, 8.25. Wow. Okay, so let's maximize this to give us some space to see what actually happened. So, here we go. This is where we entered all our information. So here it's printing out the basic information about the loan. The monthly repayment is going to be quite large because we're expected to pay back $120,000 in 5 years. And the total payment is going to be $146,854.17. And then what you can see down here is each payment that we had to make on our loan until it was paid off. So you can see here on the first payment, we paid off $1,622, and the rest of the payment was all interest. And you can see as we go down, the interest gets less, the balance gets less until we've paid off the final payment and everything's taken care of. So with that, that's it for this video. So just to summarize now, we have to use the math class for some mathematical operations. In this, it was the power function, the power method, which is one number raised to the power of another number. And the other main thing in this was that we used the loop to print out the loan repayment schedule, and we performed calculations inside the loop to work out exactly what each payment was paying off. So with that, that's it for this video. Thanks a lot.